Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares. Welcome back to another What's in the Bag, Jay? Now, this is the segment where I pick 6 movies from my collection that I haven't seen, write their names on a piece of paper, throw them in the bag, draw one out at random, and do a review. Now, coming back from last week is All Hallows Eve 2, The Awakening, Gnaw, Field Freak, Hour of the Wolf, and making his debut this week is A Dark Path. Alright, well, let me give the bag a good tussle, and we're going to see what we're going to watch this week. Alright, let's see. All Hallows Eve 2. It's about time. Now I'm going to set that aside while I set all the other movies side by side by side. And we're going to take our trusty Freddy vs. Jason die and see what comes back next week. Just remember that if I roll a Freddy vs. Jason or a 5, they all come back. A 2. Interesting. Alright, let me give the bag another good tussle, and we'll pick a couple, and you guys can vote on the rest. Oh, that almost was a mistake. The Awakening. And Field Freak. Now, if you want to see me review Gnaw, A Dark Path, or Hour of the Wolf, make sure you vote. But right now, I'm going to go watch All Hallows Eve 2 and come back with a review later. Well, I'm back. I just watched All Hallows Eve 2, and here are my thoughts. Now, All Hallows Eve 2 is a 2015 film which runs approximately 91 minutes. And it's an anthology, and I'm going to handle this the same way I handle all anthologies. We have a lot to get through, so let me get right into it. First, you have the wraparound story, which I gave an 8 to. And that was directed by Damien Leone, the same guy who directed Terrifier and gave us Art the Clown. This is a slasher film, the wraparound is, and it's very short. There's really not much to it. While it doesn't give us an icon like Art the Clown, I thought it was pretty cool. And I'm going to kind of leave it at that. Okay. The first segment is called Jack Attack. Now that is directed by Brian Norton and Antonio Pacdovan. It stars Helen Rogers, Tyler Russell, and Brazen. Now, I gave this one a 7.5. If I didn't say, I can't remember if I said, but I gave the wraparound an 8. Being a slasher segment, I really enjoyed it. But this one got a 7.5. I really enjoyed it. It has the perfect Halloween feel. This is about a babysitter and the boy she's babysitting. They go back, they're getting ready to carve a jack-o'-lantern, and he's asking questions, she's answering them. It's all very pleasant. And as she's carving it, they take out the guts and they cook the pumpkin seeds and they eat them. That's really all I can say about it. It sounds boring, but it's not. It's really fun and it's really gory. Okay. The second segment is called The Last Halloween. This is directed by Mark Russell. And this stars Ron Bosch, Emily Alentalo, and Angela Bashara. This is about a group of kids who are going house to house trick-or-treating. It's kind of like a post-apocalyptic, and it's supposed to be the last Halloween. That's really all I can say. I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I gave that one a 7.5 too. I almost went with an 8 on that, but I liked it, so I gave it a 7.5. Okay, segment number 3 is called The Offering. Now, this one was the weakest in my opinion. This was directed by Ryan Patch. This stars Bob Jaffe and Jared Mark Smith. Those are the only two characters in it. It's about a father and son who are going to meet this entity or monster to which they have to bring an offering. And that's all I'm going to say about that one. The reason why I gave it a 6 is because I didn't like some of the content, and it kind of made me mad. But I'll leave it at that. If you go to watch this, I'm sure you'll understand why. Okay. The next segment is called Descent. There's a lot of segments in here. And one of the things that I liked about it is the segments, most of them were really short. There was one long segment, and the rest of them were very, very short. And it kept the pace going really well. Okay, now we're at Descent. This was directed by Jay Halbin. This was actually my favorite in the anthology. This stars Anthony Balkman and Renee Madison Cole. This is about a lady who catches a murderer murdering her friend and how it plays tricks with your mind. Unfortunately, that's all I can say without giving it away, so I kind of have to leave it there. I gave this one a 9. It was fantastic. I really liked the imagery in the film. I thought it was really cool. Very well done. The next segment is called M for Masochist, and this is written and directed by the Kondelik brothers. Now, this has a star in it, of course. This is Bill Oberst Jr., Jonathan Neutron, and Finn Cobbler. This is about a circus act, a very violent circus act. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave it there because anything more I say is going to give everything away. But I gave this one a 7. I thought this one was cool. It was very short, and there wasn't enough explanation, and it almost felt unfinished. But I did give it a 7 because I thought the overall content was really cool. After that is the longest segment. It's called A Boy's Life. This one I gave an 8 to. This is written and directed by Elias Benavaldes, and this stars Griffin Gluck and Christy Lynn Smith. Now, Griffin Gluck is also, I would say, kind of a star. I knew exactly who the kid was. If anyone's seen the movie with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston called Let It Go, he was the son of Jennifer Aniston who likes to poop. And I'll leave it at that. If you remember, you'll definitely remember him if you've seen that film. And this is about a boy and his mom who, she's a single mom since her husband died serving the country. And the boy thinks that there is a monster in his room, and he wants to capture this monster because his mom doesn't believe him. I kind of have to leave it there. There's more to it, but really good story. Like I said, I gave that one an 8. It is the longest segment on the anthology, and it was probably the one that was done the best. Not the best, but it was made really well. Which brings us to the next segment, which is Mr. Tricker's Treat. This was directed by Mike Kochanski, and it stars Michael Salvado and Cardi Siem. This one I gave a 7 to. I really liked the idea for this one, but it almost felt too short, like it was unfinished. This is about a man who takes his decorating very seriously at Halloween, and I'll leave it at that. To which we have our last segment called Alexia. Now, this one is written and directed by Andre Borchi, and it stars Sergio Burson, Paula Corriga, and Pilar Boll. Okay, this is about a guy who's on the computer talking to his girlfriend, and he gets some mysterious pictures and messages. And that's basically all I can say. My major con for this one was it wasn't translated. All the messages weren't translated on the computer. The words were not translated from, I believe it was Spanish to American. So you couldn't really understand what was said, although I do know a little teeny bit of Spanish, so I could kind of figure out some of it. But you could definitely tell what was going on. It's like almost like it wasn't necessary to translate, but I would have liked it. It was okay. I gave that one a 7. Overall, getting into this, I was not expecting much. I've heard nothing but bad things about this anthology, and I'm going to tell you what, I almost feel like I watched a different movie because I really enjoyed it. There was 2 segments. The least got a 6, and then there was one or two for that got 7s, but most of them were really well done. I really enjoyed this anthology. This is something I definitely recommend to watch around Halloween. Granted, as far as anthologies go, you're coming from All Hallows Eve, the original, which gave us Art the Clown. This is nowhere near as good as All Hallows Eve one. And I think, in part, that's why people kind of crap on it, because it has a lot to live up to. But as an anthology, I really found this to be an entertaining watch. So if you like anthologies, I definitely recommend it. That's where we're going to go with that one. Take that for what it's worth. And don't forget to vote for the ones that didn't make it. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.